the 7-day reset to sort out your life. So I'd recently just done this, and it was an incorporation of dopamine detox and also some self-internal work. And the reason I did this was because honestly, I've just been so anxious and confused recently. I can feel my social anxiety coming back. I'm so confused about where to go in my future and what to do. And I just needed a way to find some stillness and some calmness. And yeah, I was confused on where to go. I was feeling less than others. I could experience the social anxiety coming up of me being in constant comparison. And my ability to focus was awful. This last like couple of months, I've been trying to grow a business, obviously this business and the Instagram business, and I've just not been able to focus properly. So I needed a way to reset my focus, train my attention back to being in the present moment, not being in this perpetual state of thought. And this massively helped. So your life is passing by, and if you're constantly in this perpetual state of distraction, you don't have any goals, or you don't know what you're doing in life. You don't know where you want to go. You don't know where you want to stay away from. You don't know what you value. All of these are going to make you chase instant gratification, which is going to put you in a perpetual state of distraction. And your life is going to pass by without you realizing. You're going to get older. You're going to get 1 year older, 2 year older, 3 year older. You're going to be 30, then 40, then 50. And you're going to look back at your deathbed and think, what happened? All them insecurities I gave into, all the anxieties I gave into, I never achieved what I wanted to achieve. Like, what actually happened with my life? And I do not want this to be me, and I don't want it to be you either. The thought of getting into your deathbed and realizing that you didn't achieve what you wanted to achieve, and you gave into everything that came up in your conscious experience, is scary for me. And that's scarier than death. The only the real reason that death is scary is because we haven't gone out and achieved everything we want to achieve. And it's that loss of not living the life we wanted to live. So your life is passing by, and you need to take action on this. All we have is our attention. To the extent to where you place your attention dictates the quality of your life. We are constantly stuck, as I said before, in a perpetual state of thought, constantly mindlessly going through our day, doing things without realizing what's happening. And your attention is where you place your time. What you choose to do with your time is your attention. So you're rather putting your attention on negative things, things that are distracting you, things that are taking you away from your goals, or you can become mindful and train and put your attention on things that are going to make your life better. So attention is all you have. And awareness is the first step to solving problems. So if you are unaware of you live in this perpetual state of thought, if you're unaware of the anxiety you're experiencing, the lack of self-improvement that's going on in your life, if you're unaware of your financial situation, all of these can't be solved. So you need to have awareness of what's going on around you. Once you can pay attention, you can start gaining clarity. And this is so important because clarity gives you a mode of being to head towards. Having clarity in your situation gives you the tools to want to improve and to know where to improve. You're no longer just guessing it. If I do this, it'll make me feel better. Or if I do this, it might get me somewhere. You've got clarity. Right, this is my situation and this is what I need to do to get out. And the last thing is your attention is being stolen. As I said before, from your phone, from social media companies, the way you dictate your life is with your attention. And the social media companies know this. They know that the more time you spend your attention on social media apps, on their devices, on their platforms, the more they can monetize you, because you're spending more time on their platforms, so they can sell you more advertisers, and they can take away the essence of what your life is. The relationship you have with your phone is destroying your life. As I said before, it's taking away your ability to focus, man. The social media companies do several things. They hijack your dopamine receptors, they get into your evolutionary psychology, and they want you to stay stuck. So you spend more time on their platforms, and your phone is the worst for this. You have literally got a slot machine in your pocket, and it's causing you to spend your whole life not bothering improving yourself and just giving into instant gratification. You no longer know what you find important, because you're constantly getting a stream of information coming in from your phone. What your opinions are getting swayed. You don't actually know if you value the fast car, or if that's just because you see it on social media, because Andrew Tate tells you to value that. You don't know who you actually are as a person, because you constantly get this stream of information coming in your mind, and it's not creating times of stillness to really look at who you actually are. And you're constantly comparing your life to the highlights of others. This is maybe the worst one, because people, obviously, for a good reason, put the good side of them on social media. And because you're you and you experience your own conscious experience, you constantly think that everyone else is doing better than you. And you just see the negatives of your life. You see all the trials and tribulations that you go through. And you go on social media and see, oh, the person's partying, pulling loads of women, or he's out there being really productive, he's shredded. And you don't see all the tough choices they go through. So you're comparing your worst and all of your experience to just the best of others. Onto how the companies get you. How do actually social media companies ruin your life? And as I said this in the last slide, but they hijack your dopamine receptors. So for those that don't know what dopamine is the motivation molecule. Maybe it's the motivation of more. It's what motivates you to do things. To take action, you need a dopamine spike to take action. If you was rid of dopamine, you would never do anything. You would just sit there. You probably couldn't even breathe. Like, dopamine is the motivation hormone. It gets you to do things, right? It's the motivation molecule. So what the social media companies do is they hijack your dopamine receptors with short form content and things that they know your brain wants to see, to get you to take more actions that are on them platforms. So they're constantly hijacking your dopamine receptors, constantly playing with the chemicals in your brain to make you want to spend more time on that platform. Maybe not even consciously want to spend more time, but that your dopamine is going to get used to the certain stimulus that comes through from social media, and it's going to keep getting you attached to it. Keep spending more time on social media. They hack into your evolutionary psychology. This is a big one that I think doesn't get talked about a lot. They know how our brain has evolved, and our brain has been evolved in a way to be in constant comparison to others, to constantly observing what other people are doing. We are social creatures by nature. So what the social media companies have done is they've hacked into this, and they've shown us the highlights of other people at all times. They're constantly showing us feeds of what other people are doing. They've made the like button. So to get respect and social status is massive for us. And any good feedback that we get is huge. And any negative feedback we get is huge also, but in a different parallel way. So if you put something on social media and you see that you get no likes, that's a sign to you that people aren't valuing you. If you get loads of likes, oh, that's valued, and they become addicting. I want to post again so I can get more likes to feel more validated. Oh, I got loads of likes that time. Let's post again so I can feel more validated. And look, they've hacked into your evolutionary psychology. How crazy is it, man? They know exactly how your brain works. And they influence the way you think to get addicted through all of these, through hijacking your dopamine receptors, your evolutionary psychology. They know how to influence the way you think. So what do you need? Let's start this with a dopamine detox. This 7-day reset starts with coming away from your phone and social media for a week. And I don't care what excuses you come up with. I don't care what problems you might think arise from this. It is worth getting control over your mind again, clarity in your situation. The sacrifice of giving up on social media for a week is tenfold. It's worth gaining clarity on your situation, because do you want to live a life that's unclear? Or do you want to actually gain clarity and control over who you are? So reset your dopamine receptors, allow your brain to be still and be bored, and then define what you actually want your phone for. Do you want to be constantly wasting your time and be stuck in a perpetual state of instant gratification? Or do you want to use your time productively to get shredded, to make money, whatever it is? So you need to define and get clear, but you need to have a dopamine detox to do this. The next is, on this dopamine detox week, you want to do the self-authoring program by Jordan Peterson. And you don't have to do this, but this is what I did. And it really gives you a framework of how to achieve your goals, what steps you need to do. It breaks down your heaven and defines your hell. You define both of them, and then you know what you want to strive towards and what you want to avert away from. And this heaven and hell concept is something that, if you don't want to do the self-authoring program, is something I would recommend doing, is writing in the perfect day of your life in 10 years' time, what does it look like? And that's your heaven. And let your imagination run wild. Don't let your self-limiting beliefs stop you here. Just define what your heaven would look like. Who are you with? What do you look like? Are you shredded? Are you this? Do you have a sick haircut with a mega nice tan? Do you have an amazing wife, a relationship? Do you have kids? Do you have a Bugatti Veyron? Just let your imagination run wild. And that is a subconscious goal for you to aim towards. It gives you a vision, it gives you clarity. And then you can break that down into mini sub goals and think, what can I do this year to get me closer towards that goal? What can I do in the next 6 months? What can I do in the next month? And you want to start breaking down your heaven and creating sub goals for you to achieve. And this is going to increase your dopamine levels when you hit these goals, and it's going to make you more addicted and more motivated to chasing this goal and getting yourself out of where you are now. The other one is define your hell. This is just as important because this gives you something to revert away from. Once you've got your heaven and hell defined, you can weigh up every action with the indication of, is this going to get me towards my heaven or my hell? And your hell is, what does it look like in 10 years' time if you continue doing what you're doing? If you continue giving into instant gratification, if you continue to not take action, what does your life look like? Are you going to be living with your parents still? Are you going to be a virgin? Are you not going to have sex in like 10 years? What is it? What is going to cause you to not live up to your... If you don't live up to your expectations, what is your life going to be like? And define your values. What is it you value in life? Is it relationships with people? Is it being healthy? What are the things you actually make you feel good and you value? And once you define these, you can then start living in accordance with them and start heading towards your heaven instead of your hell. So this is the power of clarity. Before was Alex, who was on his fitness journey, didn't know exactly what he wanted from it, never defined what calories to eat, never was socially anxious, didn't know what he was doing. And I'd already been going gym for about a year there on the left. About 8 months later, that's what it looked like. So that is a power of clarity. Have a goal, have a mission, and head towards it with everything you've got. We see the world through a value hierarchy, and this is why it's so important to define your values. So we have an infinite amount of things to focus on in our reality, right? So how do we choose what to focus on? It's because we value certain things. That's our value hierarchy defines what we spend our attention on. So if you can get clear on your values and you can understand that I want to spend my time on this and that, you can start training your brain to put your attention on that. But if you're acting in ways that aren't in accordance with where you want to go, this is because you've got subconscious values that aren't aligned with the person you want to be. So we are made up of subcomponents of personalities. There is loads of different personalities playing around in our brain. And when you procrastinate, when you eat that junk food, when you actively do things that are not aligned with who you want to be, this is because you haven't integrated your values with who you actually are. And you've got subconscious values that are prioritizing things that aren't what you actually want. So we need to actually define what our values are and become aware of all of our subconscious values and train them out of our brain. And this is one thing that social media does, is it implants values that you don't want to have in your mind through subconscious programming. And that's how they get you stuck on these platforms. So you want to train your brain to know what it values. And lastly is, do you want to be stuck? It's simple. Do you want to spend the rest of your life living like you're living now? Do you want to get to the end of your life and think, what am I doing? 10 years time, you're 30, you're 40, and you never achieved your goals. You've not had sex in 10 years. You've not gone and spoke to that woman and done the thing that scared you. You've never achieved your financial goals. You never got in shape, and you're living a life of mediocrity, or even worse, of self-destructive nature. Do you want that? I don't think so. So people, that's everything. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video.